Hi everyone, it's Tanya and welcome to today's video. Today's video is an exciting one because I have finished Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. 5 out of 5, 100 out of 100. Honestly, this book was everything I wanted this book to be. This wasn't like, if you have been on my channel for quite some time, you know my opinion of The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I made 1 hour long review of it, explaining in detail what I didn't like. If you want to watch it, I will link it up here. I will not go much into detail in this video. These two are very similar. They are very similar, even in imagery. Stories are different. Stories are very different. But just the imagery, the atmosphere, but like there's the feel of these two books is very, very similar. However, this book I do not recommend. I think it's a waste of time and waste of your money. This book is what we are going to talk about today. This book is what I recommend, and this book did not disappoint. So basically, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, author of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, book I adored. I also have a reading vlog of that book. I will link it if you want to watch. Adored her first novel. I was a little bit nervous to read her second, because what if it didn't live up to my expectations? What if it didn't live up to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell? I was not disappointed. This book was brilliant. Everybody says it, everybody writes it, but I wanted it to be longer. I really wanted it to be longer, just because it was so good. The atmosphere, the characters, everything was just mwah, chef's kiss. It was so good. The imagery, the symbolism, the references to other novels and other literature. Yes! Like, yes! This was so good. With this book, I don't want to give too much away in terms of a plot, because the beauty of it, like the main beauty of it, is the like kind of slow revealance of the plot. And like many people are saying and writing in their reviews, a lot of people recommend you not to read this plot description, and I recommend it too. That's why I will not talk much about the plot and what is happening. Actually, I kind of think that the summary of the book kind of spoiled it a little bit for me. I feel like it would be a little bit different experience if I didn't know what to expect. So I will not tell you what to kind of, I still want to give you some kind of hints to maybe make you excited, but not give too much away. So what I will give you away is the very beginning, like the very start of the book, kind of the setting of the book. We find our main protagonist living in this huge kind of building, and this building is endless. There are no entrances, there are no exits, there are some windows. He calls this place the house, or he calls it the world. He says that there is only 2 living people in the world, one of these people being himself, and there is this other figure, the other. He calls this other person the other. This other person calls him Piranesi. However, our main protagonist has a strong suspicion that Piranesi isn't his real name. It's just that the other thought that Piranesi was the most fitting name for him. And it kind of gives you an idea of kind of what the place is. It kind of gives you an idea of the situation of the main character. Because if you look who Piranesi was an Italian artist and an archaeologist. He was famous for his etchings of imaginary Roman prison. And actually his etchings were so good that Goethe, after seeing those etchings, was terribly disappointed in the real thing. When he saw the actual ruins of Rome, he was disappointed because he saw Piranesi's etchings and they were much more impressive. So yeah, Piranesi was famous for his etchings of prison. And so it gives you kind of an idea of the situation. You know, he lives in this secluded, closed, huge, endless house. There is a description of this house, which I will read for you because it's at the very beginning and it's not a spoiler. It's like page 6. I will just read you the description of the house, because it kind of gave me an idea and I want to give you a point of this book. So she writes, outside the house there are only the celestial objects, sun, moon and stars. The house has 3 levels. The lower halls are the domains of tides. Their windows, when seen from across a courtyard, are grey-green with the restless waters and white with the spatter of foam. The lower halls provide nourishment in the form of fish and sea vegetation. The upper halls are, as I have said, the domain of the clouds. Their windows are grey-white and misty. Sometimes you will see a whole line of windows suddenly illuminated by a flash of lightning. The upper halls give fresh water, which is shed in the vestibules in the form of rain and flows in streams down walls and staircases. Between these 2 largely uninhabitable levels are the middle halls, which are the domain of birds and of men. The beautiful orderliness of the house is what gives us life. So after I read this description of the house, I kind of started thinking, because it's very much similar to biological, like ecological organization of our ecosystem of Earth, with like, you know, in school, do you remember studying it at school, that like there is this lower level of waters and then the higher level kind of ecosystem, which is the air level, like the skies, and then there is this like middle level with all the living creatures and human which kind of live on Earth. I remember it from school. I don't remember exactly like the names of the levels, but I remember these 3 levels studying it. And so after I read this paragraph, I was like, oh, does this mean something? Because, you know, but the story with this book is that you're always expecting something. You're kind of thrown into the story, but you are so disoriented. You do not know what's going on. You do not know what's going to happen. You have no idea what to expect. I felt that every sentence means something and I need to pay close attention. I need to pay close attention and just kind of follow along. And so I kind of thought that maybe the house was some kind of symbol of our world, because it's like the description and the organization is so similar, and I'm like, oh, does this house stands for our world? And maybe this novel is going to be about kind of, I don't know, humanity or something. And so I don't think that it kind of, I don't know, I cannot say that like I completely understood the book, but in like judging from after I finished it, I feel like it wasn't it wasn't like a metaphor or some kind of for our world. However, there was a theme, and we will talk about the theme in the future. But yeah, so basically I just wanted to say that this book is very much, it's kind of deceiving you. It's like a riddle, it's like a puzzle. When you read it, you will slowly piece different pieces together, and it will make a beautiful picture. And a fascinating one. This book tricks you. This book tricks you sometimes, but it tricks you in the most exciting and beautiful ways. The house is filled with statues of people and different creatures doing different things, and the statues are basically our characters, not friends, because obviously they don't talk, but he has favorite statues, and he has statues that kind of mean something to him. He has a favorite statue of a fawn. There will be allusions and there will be references to other books, and this fawn is a reference to a different book. I will not tell you which, but keep your eyes out, like pay attention to what you are reading. It gives you such a satisfaction when you guess a reference, or when you guess a symbol, or if you, in my case, I had to look for some meaning of some symbols, so I had to look them up. So it gives you very much satisfaction. In case, for example, again, I'm very sorry, but I will just sometimes compare it to Erin Morgenstern. In case of Erin Morgenstern, she gives you a reference, but then she kind of explains it to you immediately, like, oh, this was a quote from this book. Oh, you understood it. Very good. And I was like, oh, can you not comment? Can you just give a reference and leave it to me to guess? And yeah, this book was just kind of explaining every reference, and it was a little bit annoying. In case of this book, it does not explain. It just gives you the reference, and it leaves it to you to understand it. And it was very, I don't know, it made me feel so good. It made me feel, I don't know, I was very happy. So yeah, this was kind of the beginning of the story. We have this main character, Piranesi, who lives in this huge, endless house, which he calls the world. He has the only other living companion, which is the other, who is, oh, one more thing, both of them are scientists. Both of them are scientists. And I will not tell you more. I don't want to tell you more, but I feel like this book is a perfect example of dark academia. You know, currently this like trend everybody is looking for and wanting to read dark academia books. And I feel like a lot of suggestions are very much stretch, you know. I remember somebody on Instagram suggested Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart as a dark academia book. And I was like, how? How is that a dark academia? In case of this book, I feel like this is a great example of dark academia, because with my dark academia I kind of want books to have these scientific ideas. I'm afraid to tell you more because I will kind of I don't want to spoil anything for you. But basically, yeah, I want my dark academia book to include some kind of scientific ideas and have something to do with these ideas. I want there to be scientists. I don't want there to be just like students. I want there to be actual academics and scientists. This book has it. Both of our characters are scientists. I will not tell you more. I will not tell you more because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I think it's a great example of dark academia if you are looking for that type of reading. I will not talk more about the plot because I'm not going to ruin it for you. I don't want to ruin it for you. I think this book is great. It's just 250 pages, 245. You can manage. It's very easy to read. It's so readable. It's very readable. Even if you don't understand all the symbolism, you don't understand all the references, it's not exactly necessary. It will still be readable and interesting. You will still love it. You will still enjoy. The writing is different from Erin Morgenstern writing. This writing is very kind of straightforward. It's in a way simple, but it's good. But it's so good. So I don't know, if you're looking for a flowery writing, then maybe okay, not. But honestly, you would lose so much if you decided not to read this book just because it doesn't have a flowery writing like Erin Morgenstern. Like, honestly, you would miss out on so much. So flowery writing apart, it's just the packaging, it's just the fancy packaging. This is the book, this is the book with an idea behind it, you know. This is a book with the thought behind it. That's why I'm highly recommending it. I think the very first thing that I kind of noticed and that I really liked while reading this book was Piranesi as the character himself. Like, characterization in this book. So good. So good. Piranesi is he is a brilliant character. He is a man who you kind of understand that something is wrong with him, because he's, as he concludes himself, he is about 35 years of age. But when you read his writing, he is a little bit like a child. He is very naive. He also considers himself a scientist, because the house, as he refers to it, his world, it is also kind of his god. So like, his house is at the same time kind of his religion. So it's not only his living place, it is also the place that gives him life, that gives him food, and that protects him. So it's kind of his god in a way. His function, as he understands it, to witness the beauties of the house, to document the beauties of the house, and to appreciate the beauties of the house. In the very beginning, he even says, like, where he describes statues, he says that he has favorite statues, and he is like, I don't think if I should have favorite statues, because all of the statues are creations of the house. All of them are equally beautiful and equally important, and he said, like, I think I should appreciate all of them equally. So he has this reverence and respect to the house. He looks at the house with kind of his eyes wide open. He loves this place. He's happy in this place. He understands it, because it's also a dangerous place. There is waters and there is an ocean, like I described in the beginning, that sometimes raises and it inundates the upper levels, the level of where he lives and birds live. And so, but he knows when the inundation is going to happen, so he knows how to protect, where to go, what to do. So it's also a dangerous place, but at the same time, he is never scared. He knows that the house will protect him. And I feel that this attitude that he has for the house is kind of the attitude that people used to have to nature before. That's why I thought that maybe this, when I was in the very beginning reading this book and I didn't know what was going to happen, I thought that maybe the book was kinda a metaphor and kinda a critique of our current relationship to the world and how we treat it, how it's very pragmatic, how we just use it for our advantage. And with Piranesi being the opposite, being the person who appreciates it, who takes only as much as he needs, who takes care at the same of the house. So I thought that maybe it was some kind of an environmental novel, kind of, you know, environmental message packaged in the form of a fantasy book. And I think that maybe I don't know, maybe in a way it was, but it's like it's not the main idea. One more thing that why Piranesi kind of reminded me of like ancient people is he mentions in the novel that the house speaks to him, even though like in the book there is no actual dialogue, like there is not a dialogue between him and the house. It's just that he kind of understands the house, he understands different events in the house, and he can interpret them to his advantage, to understand what he should do next, what's going to happen. So that's why he kind of says that house is meaningful to him. Events that are happening in the house are meaningful to him. That's why he says that house talks to me. That's also why I thought about like ancient kind of civilizations and how they treated Earth before. So that was when I was just in the beginning reading this book. So yeah, again, I will not talk too much about it because I don't want to give it away. One more topic that the book kind of explores, and why I also think that it's a very good dark academia example of a dark academia book, is because it explores the topic of knowledge. What knowledge means, how the knowledge needs to be treated, how it should be obtained. So the topic of the knowledge and the importance of knowledge in our life, and how we treat it, how we perceive it, what we think of knowledge, how to I don't want, like, I cannot talk too much, but there is a topic of knowledge and the importance of knowledge in our life and how it should be treated, how it should be obtained. I will just say that. So like another thing that was very fascinating about the book is its setting. So the house itself. The house itself is just a very fascinating setting. The book was very atmospheric. Again, another similarity to the Starless Sea. Starless Sea has a cave with like millions of books. This book has a secluded house which is locked, like there are no doors, which is full of statues. So kind of setting in a way is similar, But like with this setting, I could never understand like the purpose of it, what this place was, why it was there. Like I just didn't. And with this book, like you will know what the house is, you will know where it came from. It's not exact, it doesn't give you like all the explanations, but it makes sense in this book. Like this book makes sense. I feel like it was thought through, and that's why it makes sense. In case with Erin Morgenstern, I feel like there were just ideas thrown into the text to kind of make it mysterious, make it atmospheric, but they didn't make sense to me. With this book, it all makes sense, which I'm so grateful for. I really like this book. So yeah, house is a fascinating setting with statues and with birds and with our character. There are also some dead people whom our character takes care of, which is also kind of reminiscent of ancient kind of cultures, when they had also this reverence and respect for dead people. They were not completely dead to them, they kind of just were somewhere else, but they kind of could still interact with them and, you know, appreciate them and talk to them. So that's what kind of our current character's relationship to the dead as well. He has respect for them, he cares for them. When inundation happens, he brings their bones somewhere else, and then when it goes away, he brings their bones back. So he has this reverence for them. As a reader, this book kind of requires you in the very beginning, because nothing will make sense. You will be kind of just thrown, and you will not know where you are and what you're doing, what the main character is doing. You will just have to kind of trust to the writer. You will have to just follow along. Pay attention to the details. Phone is not just a phone. It is a reference, so which will give you an idea of what this place might be. So pay attention, ask questions to yourself, follow the writer, trust to the writer. Slowly but surely the picture will appear. Like it will slowly, the pieces will be puzzled together. So you will enjoy this. Like the experience of this book is in slow revelations, slow little revelations. I would say that like the second part of this book becomes more gripping, because that's where you start discovering more and more things, but at the same time, at least for me, it became a little bit less atmospheric. Will not tell you more. The first part is the atmosphere. The first part of the book, that's where the whole atmosphere exists. The second part of the book is where the pieces start coming together, and that's kind of the place where everything comes back to the ground. Like the first part is like a dream. The second part is like coming to the ground. At least that's how it was for me, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I did feel a little bit like sad that it was over. I wanted I so much enjoy the setting of the book. I so much enjoy the house, and I feel like everybody enjoys the house. Characters. Everybody, characters. Like Piranesi loves the house. Everybody who is in the house loves the place, and that's why I, as a reader, was also fascinated by the place. Why I also loved this place. So yeah, the first part of the book was very dreamlike. Like a fairy, not a fairy tale, not more like a dream, like a mirage. In the second part, where everything comes back to the ground. That's like the feeling that I will give you, but I don't want to give you like to say anything. One more thing that I want to mention is that this book has a very interesting observation on memory and how memory makes us who we are, how it is important for personality, how it is important in creating your persona. So yeah, also I will not tell more, but memory plays a part in this book. So yes, I think I've talked for a long time. I don't want to give you more. I feel like you need to go into this book blindfolded. Do not read synopsis. Do not, because it spoils it spoils. Like, it spoiled me. I knew what to expect. Do not. If you remember the synopsis, wait a little bit till you forget it. Do not read the synopsis. Just jump into the book, follow the lead of the author, pay attention, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the book, because it is a brilliant book. It is a brilliant book. The only minus of it is that it's not 1000 page long. If it were 1000 page long as Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I would be very much happy. Yeah, I wanted it to be longer. Everybody wanted it to be longer, and I join in into the everybody's opinion. I wanted it to be longer too. Great example of dark academia. This is what dark academia should be, in my opinion. And yeah, give it a read. Give it a read. Get it, buy it, and read it. This is so good. And also it's very easy. Like, it's not 1000 pages as Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, so you will get through it easily. Do not, like, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Do not miss out on this. So yeah, I love this book. I love this book. I will reread it. I actually, yesterday when I finished it, I kind of started rereading it again. I read in some of kind of reviews and comments that this book was inspired by this book. So, Ficciones by Jorge Luis Borges. I haven't read this book. I have it on my list. I have it on my, like, physical TBR, but I still haven't read it. And now I am so excited to read this. Like, I was excited before because Jorge Luis Borges, an important Argentinian writer of short stories. This is a collection of short stories. And now I'm even more excited to give this book a read, because I heard that this book was heavily inspired by this. I hope you will give this book a read. I hope you will love it just as much as I did, and I hope you will enjoy it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this review was kind of interesting, and I hope it inspired you to pick up the book. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a very good day. I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you soon in my next videos. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.